Hey, it's Amber, and welcome to season 3 of Politics But Make It Fashion. Come chat with me. Hey guys, it is your favorite hostess, Amber Viola, and welcome back to season 3 of Politics But Make It Fashion. Come chat with me, guys. So let me give you some updates on me. So as you can see, I am alone on this dreary Monday morning. It's just gonna be me on the new season 3. Boop boop. I can't believe we made it this far. And yeah, so I'm gonna give you guys some updates because it's been a long time since me and you chatted. I wrote a book, or I'm in the process of writing a book. I wrote a couple of short stories that have been published through Amazon. Guys, it's kind of crazy and wild, super amazing. Though I had no idea what I was doing. A lot easier than I thought it was. So it's gonna be like a whole book that I'm putting together, but I wanted to release it in short stories. So the story is called 72 Hours of Hell, My Time in the VA. And it is about my time in a crazy house in the VA. So go check it out. It's on Amazon. You can search either Amber Viola or you can search 72 Hours of Hell. And yeah, it's a really personal account of kind of what happened to me while I was there and the whole process. On season 3, episode 1, the previous episode to this, I read out loud at a book reading the first chapter of the book. So you guys can listen to that as well. And that's just the first chapter, and the second chapter is out now, and it's called Down the Rabbit Hole, which is kind of the story of how I ended up there in the first place and all of the things, the culmination of things that kind of led me to that point. But one of the crazy things is, so one of my best friends, hey Elaine girl, who is actually on a previous episode of this, where we talk about our health issues and different things that happen to us in the Navy. It's a really great episode, and she sent me this article, guys, after I wrote my short story. And the article is about how the VA hospital in Loma Linda uses involuntary psychiatric holds against veterans and violates their rights. So basically, what happened to me in my short story has been happening to hundreds of veterans. And I'm sure it's not just in Loma Linda because it happened to me here in PA, but it was honestly wild because I was just like, I could have written this story. I could have like told the story to the newspaper verbatim, and it's wild. So reading it, I felt so validated, when you go through something and you're wondering, is this just me? Am I being dramatic? Did I do something to cause this, or, whatever. And it was really, really validating reading this article and hearing that they're doing investigations. And also just the fact that it happened to other people. So the medical director says that the 5150 holds are placed on veterans who are seeking voluntary treatment before they are transported to a hospital emergency room or a psychiatric clinic. So, a 5150 is what the police code, I don't know if they call it police code, but like their radio call signals that you hear, like on police shows like Law and Order or whatever. And that basically is a call saying that like you have somebody who is a danger to themselves or a danger to the public and they need to be placed in a hospital. So the issue is that the veterans are seeking voluntary treatment. So veterans are calling their doctor or walking into the VA hospital and saying, "Hey, I'm going through a rough time. I'm here to get some help." And instead of the VA being like, "Oh my God, girl, hey, let me help you. Let me take you to a room," they're like, "Oh, security here, come, let's force this person in here." And that's illegal and that violates their rights. So I'm definitely going to put this article in the show notes so you guys can read it. Um, but it's by redlandsdailyfacts.com and it's pretty wild and crazy. So it's obviously Halloween, which is my favorite holiday. So my mini had her Halloween parade at her school, and it was just honestly like the cutest thing. They like walk around the block, and all the kids are dressed up, all the teachers, the principal, everybody. They had cheerleaders and football players from the high school come out, and they had some people from the band and stuff. And it was just really so adorable and wholesome, you know. So that was fun. So I wonder what you guys' plans for Halloween are. We are gonna go trick-or-treating in my hometown because they still have traditional trick-or-treating, and it like looks like Halloween Town. You know what I mean? It looks like a Lifetime movie. Everybody's houses are killer, and they also give beer to adults, which is very nice. And it's just fun, and everybody's out and about. I'm gonna dress up too, and me and my best friend, he's gonna be Michael Myers, and I am gonna be Chucky. So, you know, scare the kids for a little bit. That's gonna be fun. And yeah, so that's kind of my updates on what I've been doing and my plans coming up for this weekend. So guys, let's get into it. So I'm sure we all have seen what is happening over in the Middle East with Israel and Palestine. So I'm going to talk about kind of what's happening right now. And so they just started, the Israel army just started a brand new phase. And the phase is basically a drive to eliminate Hamas. That is kind of what they're calling it. So as of right now, there's 8,000 Palestinians who are dead and 4,000 children. There was a communication blackout. So there was no internet for about 34 hours, and it coincided with the drive to eliminate Hamas thing, um, which was kind of weird, you know, especially because TikTok has really been showing the kind of true face of war, and you can see firsthand what's going on. Guys, it's wild watching what is kind of going on with that and everything. And so I wanted to kind of just briefly talk about it, but I hear a lot of people saying like, can you kind of choose a side with what's going on, right? And I think that you can choose a side. I also think that everything isn't black and white, and it's not always one side full against another side full, you know, and that there's shades of gray. And for me, I support the people. I support the Palestinian people, and I support the Israeli people. Like, civilians are getting killed, kids are getting killed, civilians are getting held hostage. There's hostages all over the place, you know, and that's terrible, and that shouldn't be happening. And I at the same time can say that I do not care at all for the Israeli government or Netanyahu because he's a war criminal. And I also do not care at all for Hamas and what they're doing and the way that they use their own people as shields, which isn't right at all. And I think that both things can be true, and I can still support the people and want the people and the kids to be safe. And I think that you can do that and not know every single detail that is going on, because the second thing I've been hearing a lot from people is about, not knowing all the information and not feeling like they can really have an opinion on it. But I think that you can without knowing every single thing. And your opinion can grow and change as you gather more information and as you kind of are formulating, right, your opinion and formulating all of your thoughts. A really popular headline that we've seen and coming from the Republican side is saying that Israel has a right to defend itself, which is true. Every country does. But at the same time, when you're defending yourself, if you're defending yourself against Hamas, then there shouldn't be 4,000 kids dead. You know what I mean? Like we can do better at that. Um, and I heard also about, well, the people voted in Hamas. Well, Hamas is actually only in one part of Gaza Strip where the Palestinians are located and situated. So there's other places like the West Bank that don't actually have Hamas in there at all. And they're still getting bombed, you know? And I look at it this way. They had elections, right? And the people allegedly voted in Hamas. There wasn't any other options. But also, that was almost like 20 years ago, almost. And um people voted for Joe Biden and people voted for Donald Trump, and Joe Biden won. Does that mean that everybody supports him? No, it doesn't. And I think that the same can be said for Hamas as well, for an election, and that's just kind of the way that I look at it. And at the end of the day, whether people voted for whoever, and the same goes here, we should still care for and take care of our people, and they shouldn't be getting killed at the end of the day. And yeah, so that's kind of just my little mini take on the Israel-Palestine situation. And I personally believe in free Palestine, and the people should be able to live their lives and not live in an open air prison. And also, I think that the Jewish people should be able to live their lives. Oh my God, guys, did you see what happened in Russia? With the plane with the people who were Jewish on there. And it was like a hostage situation. I'm not gonna go into it all the way, but it was just really crazy. And we can't be doing that. All right. We can't be anti-Semitic. We can't be attacking Jewish people all over the world or here in America, because there's been attacks here. We also can't attack Muslims here or Arabs here either. Like, what are y'all doing? Also, fun fact, most Palestinians are Christians. Just throwing that out there. So, I'm sure we all saw the headlines about the mass shooting that happened in Maine. This crazy man who is dead because he killed himself after a 48-hour search. He killed 18 people. It's the largest mass shooting in Maine, one of our deadliest mass shootings here. And I believe that more people died in this mass shooting than were killed in the last year in Maine, because they don't have this kind of problem up there. But apparently he's mentally ill, which is what they've been saying. And all I got to say about that is, what are we going to do about it then? Are we going to make access to mental health care easier? Are we going to make it more affordable? Because if we're not doing those things, then what are we even, what are we talking about? The guy could have been mentally ill, and what are we doing to ensure that that doesn't happen? If the conversation is going to be mental health and not guns, what are we doing to make that better? you know And I believe two things can be true at the same time. It can be both. It can be our easy access to guns here, and it can also be our abysmal mental health care system and also the lack of health care. In the in my short story, I talk about just different people in my life, and I talk about one of my friends who was paying like $100 copay for her therapy appointments. And that's insane. So, if we're going to talk about we have a mental health care issue here in the US, then we also have to talk about making it affordable and making sure that people have access to it, because most people can't afford that at all. That's crazy. And there's wait list for days for these. So there are some places that have like a 6-month, 3-month wait list for you to be able to get an appointment with a therapist if you're trying to find a new therapist. And that's just really, really insane. So, just I hope everybody out there is okay, and I'm sure that the whole community is just devastated by this happening, because you have to think about it not just as like 18 people killed as of right now, but also those are 18 families that are all affected, in schools and churches and places of business and offices, and all of those things are going to be affected by the deaths of these people, and that's just really, really sad. So there are some election updates, guys. Mike Pence is out of the race. Mike Pence and his mother wife. So that's one down. We still have a lot of people in this race, and election season is one of my favorite seasons because it is just always a disaster. There's always a lot going on. I love to keep up with it, and we'll definitely do some like live debates with my commentary on them and things coming up. So that's going to be good, and we'll have some fun with that. Definitely going to be peeping out the debate fashion and what people will be wearing in those, because I also find that to be very, very interesting. So there was a crazy hurricane over the weekend, and the reason that the hurricane caught my attention, honestly, is because it's called Hurricane Otis, and my mom's cat's name is Otis, and I just saw Otis is a mess, and this hurricane was a mess. So, boom, there we go. So apparently this crazy hurricane, like, global warming is real, and we're destroying our planet. But it had wind speeds that went up to 115 miles an hour, but it went like all the way up to 115 miles an hour in one day, which is crazy because that doesn't ever happen. Normally, it's kind of like this gradual process. And because it's a gradual process, people are able to evacuate and leave and things like that. But like, since this hurricane just kind of came out of nowhere and got like super crazy, it's 39 people are dead as of now, and there's 10 people who are still missing, so I'm sure that number is going to go up. But it was just wild. And the National Hurricane Center reported that it normally takes much longer for a wind increase to jump up. Otis intensification rate is the second fastest record in modern times. And the change prompted the National Hurricane Center, to call this a disaster and a nightmare scenario. So that's crazy. That is insane. So we will take a break, and I will be right back. 72 Hours of Hell, My Time in the VA is out now on Amazon. This short story is about my time being in the Veterans Affairs Hospital on a voluntary 72-hour hold. This journey through involuntary hold was marked by humiliation, broken promises, and a profound sense of vulnerability. My path towards seeking help was extremely challenging. Despite the setbacks faced, I hope my journey will lead other veterans and anyone else facing mental health issues to the care and support they might desperately require. 72 Hours of Hell, My Time in a VA is available now on Amazon Kindle. All right, welcome back. So, there has been a new trend in fashion lately where we've been seeing a lot of older women star in fashion campaigns. And I absolutely love it. I don't know if you guys know, but I love Heather Mirren. I think that she's absolutely gorgeous. And in this last season of like fashion weeks, there has been women who are older, including Helen Mirren, walking on the catwalk. Also, they brought back the supermodels. Naomi Campbell, she walked a couple of times, and it's just been so wonderful to see all of the older fashion models come back. And Maggie Smith, who is 88 years old, and I don't know if you guys have seen Downton Abbey, but she is now the new person, according to The Guardian, who has joined in all of these fashion shoots. And she is gorgeous in this. And I don't know, I love seeing, as Chelsea would say, women of a certain age, still doing their thing. Because I think that they still look really, really gorgeous and fashionable. And I don't know, there's something about an older woman with like a fur coat on that it really just does it, guys. I think there's something just really, really great about it. So I'm sure a lot of us saw already that Matthew Perry died. So he is most famous for playing Chandler Bing in Friends, and he was 54 years old, and apparently he drowned at his home in a jacuzzi. Um, I'm reading that he had a heart attack, but it's still pretty early, and I don't know if they've come out with like the full coroner report or are going to do a full autopsy or anything, but I'll let you guys know. And that's really sad. I didn't really like Friends, but I loved Fools Rush In. And I also loved The Whole Nine Yards. Shout out to Bruce Willis, because that's my boo. And so I thought that he was really, really hilarious in those things. So I wanted to kind of get you guys a little opinion on this, and I'm going to do a poll. But Halloween costumes. So it is All Hallows Eve today, and it will be one of the greatest holidays tomorrow. So, cultural appropriation. I saw this TikTok where people were having the discussion about cultural appropriation and like what's the line for it and different things. So I don't know. Like what do you guys think? Did we take it too far with the cultural appropriation? Like I don't really do like the Indian costumes or like the Mexican ones or anything like that. I think they're kind of tacky a little bit. And also it had for me, they always have so many different elements that don't actually go together in that culture that it's like not even a good costume. I like the ones that are about people and I don't know, just different random things. And it's kind of just like, where is the line drawn? Like, say you love the Latin culture and you really want to pay homage to it and do a costume. I honestly think that if you do it the right way and have all of the elements that are supposed to be there, then that is a little bit more of appreciation and not appropriation. Because when you have like if you've ever seen a native costume, I mean, there's stuff from like different tribes and different ceremonies and everything. So it's just like a cluster mess, you know, of everything kind of being put all together. And so I went to a bar here that I had never been to, and there was a lot of very sexy costumes. Guys, I saw a lot of butts. There's a lot of butts out. And so I was wondering, like, are we getting too sexy with the costumes? Is it just lingerie day? And if it is, I'm fine with that. We can do lingerie day. But it's just like, I feel like the costumes are just so tiny. They're so small now. And I'm saying that as someone who wore a bodysuit underneath a men's white dress shirt because I went as risky business on Saturday night. But I'm just saying, you know what I mean? Is it? I don't know. We'll see. But people have really, really been showing out with the costumes this year and going all out. And the makeup has been on fire. And I have absolutely, absolutely been loving it. So, do the poll, guys, and let me know what you think about the costumes. And that is a wrap for us today. So, thank you so much for joining me on another episode of Politics But Make It Fashion. And you can find us on TikTok at Politics But Make It Fashion. We are on Facebook at Politics But Make It Fashion. And on Instagram at Politics But Make It Fashion 1. And we will chat soon.